This is a continuation of the screencast on the nutrients. Last time we finished up talking about fats. The last fuel nutrient, besides carbohydrates and fats, are proteins. Proteins are made of things called amino acids, which I think we've had this discussion before. There are 20 different types of amino acids. So you can think of each amino acid as a Lego, and there's 20 different colored Legos. And you put these Legos together in different patterns, and you end up with proteins. The body can make 12 of these amino acids, so you don't necessarily need to take them in your diet. But 8 are what are called the essential amino acids, because you have to get them through your diet. If you eat meat, then you are getting those 8 essential amino acids. If you're a vegetarian and you don't eat meat, then what you have to learn is how to combine different proteins, non-animal sources of proteins, in order to get these 8. So good vegetarians are actually really educated on what proteins they need to consume in order to get the 8 essential amino acids. Here are just a couple examples: alanine, cysteine, tryptophan. Tryptophan you may have heard of. When you eat turkey, you get a lot of tryptophan, and then the tryptophan is used to make serotonin, which we haven't talked about yet, but it's a neurotransmitter in the brain that actually makes you tired. So that's one of the reasons you get tired after eating a turkey dinner. You also get tired at Thanksgiving because you eat so much, and that also makes you tired. Proteins are the most diverse molecule in the body. They make up your hair, muscle, enzymes, all the tons of proteins in your body. The body does not prefer to use protein as an energy source. It really doesn't want it to use it to make ATP. If you're breaking down protein or using protein as a fuel, it's because you can't use carbohydrates and you can't use fat. And what turns out to happen is that you're actually using muscle or breaking down muscle when you're burning protein. So again, it will only use it when the body is depleted of fats and carbohydrates. Now, this next statement that high protein diets are not good for you, they can be hard on the kidneys, and there's some controversy with them with the Atkins diet and very low carb diets. We could spend hours talking about that. If you have any questions about those, I can go into it for you. It is true that you should have, most diets they now recommend for most people though actually are about 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fat. And most of those carbohydrates should come from the complex carbohydrates that are high in fiber, and that fat should come from those monounsaturated fats. So we are seeing that people actually probably do need to increase the protein in their diet up to about 40%. So the 40-40-20. You still might not see it in books, but a lot of people are recommending it, and it seems to be relatively healthy. Proteins. Again, when you break down proteins, we start out with a big structure of amino acids, and enzymes will break it down into individual amino acids. These will go into the bloodstream, be absorbed into the bloodstream, and then your body will use it to build up muscle if you need it. Build different enzymes. Those amino acids can do several things within the body. When your hair grows, you're using protein in order for that to happen. Just so you know why they haven't made a Nemo 2, it's because they found him and it wasn't a pretty sight. So, pretty sad. Poor Nemo. Now, when you look at a food label, hopefully when you take your fitness class you'll learn more about this, but basically where you're getting your calories from are going to be from your fat, your carbohydrates, and your protein. So they give you cholesterol numbers, they give you sodium numbers, but these calories come from fat, carbohydrates, and protein. I'll tell you, one of the big mistakes people make is they tend to just eat more than they think they are. This calories is based on one serving, not the whole box. So a serving size may be only a half a cup. If you eat the whole box, you actually get 90 times 4 calories, 360. So a lot of people can actually control their calories and help control their weight just by paying attention to their serving sizes and making sure that those are smaller and that you're getting less calories. Like I said, most people tend to underestimate how much they are eating. Other nutrients, we've got water. Most people don't drink enough water. How much is enough? It's going to differ from person to person. The 8-ounce glasses a day, believe it or not, we're not sure who came up with that idea. It hasn't been researched, but most people don't drink enough. Most people need to drink more. And so my recommendation is, and if you drink a lot of pop and you drink caffeine, you're actually further dehydrating yourself, is that you just try to replace your pop and other sources of what you drink with water. Ions, we need those. We've talked about those a lot, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those. Minerals and vitamins. Minerals are inorganic. Iron, we've talked about. Calcium, we've talked about. They don't provide you with energy, but they're obviously necessary. Vitamins, same thing, but they are organic. I will tell you the research is showing that the best source of vitamins and minerals comes from natural sources. So why it's okay to take multivitamins, they're finding that multivitamins aren't as good for you as getting your vitamins and minerals from natural food sources. And there you have some bananas. Okay, there's two types of digestion. One is mechanical digestion. This is when you just physically break down the food. So when you chew food is probably the best example. You're not chemically changing the food, you are just making it smaller. Chemical digestion is when we actually break chemical bonds to make big molecules into small molecules. It is accomplished by structures called enzymes. Now the advantage of mechanical digestion is you increase the surface area of the food, so chemical digestion works better. So mechanical digestion is important. Obviously you couldn't swallow a whole cookie, but by breaking that cookie into small parts, you allow enzymes to chemically digest the food from big molecules to small. Some things about enzymes. They are proteins. They speed up chemical reactions. So if you ate a steak dinner with a potato and salad, you could digest it without enzymes, but it would take about a week. And with enzymes, it happens within 24 hours. They have very distinct shapes to them. You see this sucrase, and enzymes many times end in ASE or IN. You see the sucrase fits into the sucrose, and so its shape is important. If you change the shape of this enzyme, it does not work. And there's an optimal temperature and pH at which the enzyme will function. We talked about with high fevers that one of the things that happens is proteins will start to change shape, and if they change shape, they cannot carry out their function. So it's important. You'll see the stomach has a very low pH. That's a pH. One of the reasons that pH exists in the stomach is because the enzyme in the stomach is at its optimal shape at that pH. So this just shows you sucrase comes in, breaks down sucrose into fructose and glucose, and the fructose and glucose can be absorbed into the bloodstream. So again, enzymes are important for speeding up chemical reactions. And again, you're still left with this enzyme, which can then go off and break down another sucrose. And again, most enzymes end in ASE or IN. Ones that break down protein tend to end in IN. This just shows you another example of how here's an enzyme, here's the substrate, which would be the sucrose. Sucrose goes into the enzyme and you get a product, you get the fructose and the glucose. So that's the end of the nutrition part of the digestion screencast. The next two screencasts will go over individual parts and their functions within the digestive system.